CMC is nothing but the central management console. It's part of the one of the main tools that an administrator have to look at the system. What is there in the system, and I will log in here, and then I will show you. Actually, let me open it from here. So I just opened it in Firefox. There is no difference. You can open it from anywhere. And as you can see in Central Management Console, you see different applications. But let me go to an application called Servers here. You see an application, and just to give you an overview, the interaction with this. Let me share you how you interact with this CMC. So there are multiple ways you can interact in this CMC. So on the left side, you see some icons. If you prefer, or if you know these icons, you can click on these icons right away. So let's say if I click on this servers icon, and you see that it is highlighted here. It came little towards the left, and that's what you are on. And you can quickly click on this folder, or you can use this left side navigation bar. Also, it gives you a drop down here with all the names. So you can also use this to go to any application that you want. Similarly, if you prefer, you can actually go to an application called CMC Home, and then it shows you the links over here as well. And you can actually go to each one of these links. So let me go to servers, and all are taking you to the same application. The same thing that you can see. So here, as you can see in the servers, here is where you see what are all installed, what are the nodes, or how many nodes you have. This is where you will find out. You will find out by logging into CMC. So as you can tell from this system, it is all installed in one server. And also it has a lot of services, and about 18 services. We call these as sometimes it's very interesting naming here. They call server also service. So basically, these are all business object servers, and then within this server you have some services as well. And then it shows you what is the status right now. Is it running or stopped, or what is it? And we can actually enable or disable also. So it will show you the status, and right now everything is running and everything is enabled. And it also have a stale flag here. So for example, if I make any changes to the properties of these servers, and then you need to restart them to take into effect. But until that time, it will show you a flag here under the stale column, so that you know that you made some changes, but those are not in effect yet until you kind of restart that service or server. And it's also show you the host name here. In this case, we only have one host name. That's why it shows all this one. But if you have multiple nodes, it will show you the actual host name that service is running on. And it will show you the health of these services. It's all green. So basically, if there is any red here, then an administrator needs to take a look at that service to see what is wrong with that service, so that we can avoid potential problems. And all these services are not all of them are required for a functional system, but depending on what functionalities are you using. For example, if you don't have any crystal reports in your system, your customer doesn't use any crystal report, then system will be running just fine, without running these services. And it is also always recommended to stop these services, unnecessary services, because what will happen is, even though you're not using any crystal report, for example, if you're running these services, then you're actually wasting your resources on the server. Rather, if you stop them, then the system resources like CPU, memory, and processing will be used for other things which are important for the customer. So as an administrator, it's always important to know basically, out of these tiers, out of these services, which ones are basically used by your customer, and based on that, once the installation is complete, you need to configure them to meet the customer's demand. We will talk about all these things in detail. And here it also shows the description. It also shows the PID. The process ID. This is nothing but a process ID on your, on the Windows server. Like a process. And maybe let me show you one process so that you get the context here. So let me take this adaptive job server, and the PID is 6492. So if you go here in the task manager, and you go to the performance tab here, and you go to resource monitor, and then look for this PID 6492. Let me go there. Sorry. So CPU, see there is a CPU tab, and you see a PID here. So I'm just sorting by. So let me see if it's appearing here. And actually, that's fine. Let me show it from here in the task manager itself. Maybe it's easy here. So you see here on the top, PID, process identifier. I'm just adding that column so that you can see them. And let me basically sort by the name here, and then let me go to job server. It's called a job server. Yeah. So see here, job server.exe. And the PID over here is 6492. So basically, that is what's showing up here. So this will help. Sometimes, for example, let's say, something is wrong with the system, and it's performing slow, or it's not behaving correctly. Then what you can do is you can actually come to the Windows server. In this case, it's Windows, but it could be a Linux, Unix, any system. And then look at your resources utilization on the server. For example, here memory is using 13.8, and then CPU is 14%. But let's say, okay, what is used for this 15%, right? So you can drill down into a process ID, and then you can come here and say, oh, this process ID is adaptive job server, or whatever, and then you can actually try to focus on that particular service. Okay, what is wrong with the service? To find out the problem. But again, so this is just overview of this. How this looks like now. Let me open another tool here to get you the context, and then we'll talk about how the tiers are architectural conceptual tiers will look like on a real system. Okay, so this is the central configuration manager, and it has a lot of different services that you can add here, and the most important ones are Apache Tomcat here, and then server intelligence agent. So basically, the Apache Tomcat is nothing but a web application, and then server intelligence agent is the actual business object installation. So Apache Tomcat covers the web tier, and management tier, processing tier, everything else other than the database will be covered in this server intelligence agent. And then we have the database. So the database, it can be any database, regular database. And let me go to show that here. So there is a database running here as well, which is used for your CMS. See, you have Microsoft SQL Server installed here. That is the database that is already installed. So we can use a lot of tools to manage the database depending on what database we are using. And as you can see, this is like a server deployment. All the tires are deployed into one server. That is this server here. So as you can see, we talk about the management tier, and we talk about central management server, which is nothing but CMS, and then also event server, which are all here. These services are basically covered as part of that management tier. And as you can see, it is all conceptual. It's not like a hard tagged. It's not like you see a management tier here or processing tier here. It's all conceptual. So that's why administrator need to know what are they, so that he can manage them better. To know the problems or to solve the problems. Okay, is it in the management tier or is it in the processing tier? And as you can see, dashboard design processing server, adaptive processing server. Pretty much you see crystal report processing server, crystal report processing server here. So all these processing servers are part of the processing tier. And these two here, input file repository and output file repository, are basically from the storage tier, from the concept. And you don't see any database here. You don't see anything visible for the database here. The reason is this central management server is going to interact with the database. So this is the only server have access to it, and it will automatically do all the queries and everything that is required to run the functional system.
Thank you very much, Govind.
Thank you.
Good night and good day, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.